Hey Geeks, welcome to tonight's edition of Geek Culture Live. Thanks for joining in our podcast. We will periodically go back and forth from doing an actual audio podcast to an actual webcast, which you can catch on our website, www.geekcultures.com, or on our Facebook page, Geek Culture 007. You can also find us on Instagram at Geek Culture Live, SoundCloud at Geek Culture Official, and Twitter, Geek Culture 007. So tonight we're going to have a range of topics ranging from movies we saw, shows we're watching. I definitely want to get into what's going on with the collectible market. I am gathered here today with...
Rachel?
Diego.
John.
All right, so let's get into this. First, we were going to start with our most recent loss. The world lost the talents of the great Burt Reynolds.
Damn it, Bandit, you had to die, didn't you?
You son bitch.
He had a long career, and the cool thing about the Bandit was his career got a shot in the arm when he did the movie with Adam Sandler, and he did Boogie Nights, and then he was doing this Tarantino film. So he was on his second coming, essentially. And then,
Yeah, well, with Boogie Nights, I always thought he got robbed not getting the...
nominated?
No, he got nominated, but he didn't win the supporting actor. I think he should have in that one. I mean, he's been in a lot of movies, but that one for sure, I thought he should have.
You know which movie I liked him in? Was Driven. This one was Sylvester Stallone, where it was about an Indy car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, and he played he played the asshole owner or something like that. But again, like for him to be that serious, I was really, because again, I knew him from Smoking the Bandit, being that lovable character, Cannonball Run, and all that. But the thing is, when he actually saw him play the asshole like he did in Boogie Nights as well, you know what? Man, just go fuck her in the ass. You know, it's like.
He was playing like more serious roles versus his comedic role.
And I actually liked that about him. He actually had a, you see that he had a versatile,
range.
Yeah, he had a broad range.
Well, he did cowboy movies, everything. He did all kinds of stuff. So, and I think he started as a stuntman, if I remember right.
Well, somebody had told me something the other day. They were saying that early on in their careers, Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood both got denied. Burt Reynolds got told he couldn't act, and Clint Eastwood got told he was too skinny.
Yeah, again, they had to go to Italy, Clint Eastwood had to go to Italy.
Do the spaghetti westerns.
Spaghetti westerns. He got noticed and came back, and then...
It's funny how there's two iconic people, and they were like, nah, we're going to dismiss you right away.
But, that's why, for fans that have been following us for a long time, we adopted early on that song by AC/DC, a long way to the top. A long way to the top. I mean, look at some, again, like you said, renowned actors. At the beginning, they were told, you're not going to cut it. You see posts online. Todd McFarlane continues to show letters of his rejections from Marvel and DC, and it really sucks that that's the way the world is. You would figure that talent scouts or managers can see that potential talent in that individual, and they're like, you know what, come here. But I was even watching a special on Jeff Dunham. Same thing. Guy had talent. He was doing things, but nope, you're not ready yet. You're not. Johnny Carson, you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. And then the night that Carson called him, he was like, all right, I'm going to be on Carson. And then he got a midnight call. You know what? Never mind. You're not ready yet. And it's like, damn. And then finally he got there, and then things open up. So that's why a long way to the top works for us. Because, we're here, we're grinding, we're doing what we're doing, but it's going to take that person giving us the... the blessing.
Yeah. To open a door, just the right opportunity. That's it. And with Burt Reynolds, you said a Cannonball Run,
Boogie Nights. What's that? Start with
football one. That's not necessarily reference. I'm sorry.
Longest Yard.
No, you're talking about the Longest Yard.
Longest Yard.
But there's the one that everybody keeps talking about.
Deliverance.
Deliverance. I've never seen it. Sorry.
Deliverance is that's one of the few movies you'll ever see him without a mustache for one.
Yeah.
And then it's real early on in his career, but he was in a bunch of movies.
186 credits.
God almighty.
180. A lot of them seem like they're like straight to DVD movies or something.
He was in some TV shows too, like bit parts here and there, very early on. But I'm just saying he's done a lot of work, and it's he hosted the Tonight Show in the early 70s, which is weird because they only used to have talk show hosts and comedians. He was the first non-comedian or full-time talk show host to do the Tonight Show because he was that versatile. And like I said, he's one of those people that he's gonna be sorely missed now. That's the thing about him.
Yeah, his laugh.
Yeah,
his laugh. But one thing I would like to see again. He played at Florida State University. He was a football player.
Yeah, he was.
One thing I missed this weekend. I would have loved to see, the tribute that Florida State.
Oh, to him? Yeah. They should have.
It's like, well, I don't know if Florida State was playing an away game or.
I think they played at home.
I would like to see the tribute. I would like to see the tribute that they did it. Because I know they put on their helmets. I think it was Band 1. Again, was on his license plate on the on Bandit 1. I know they did Band 1. On the helmets. But I would have liked to see the tribute on screen.
Well, look on YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably on there, but, but for me, I always remember Burt Reynolds and Captain Chaos.
Yep.
And that was Don DeLuise?
Don DeLuise, but...
Who was his, lifelong friend. He passed away a long time ago.
Yeah. And again, the pair, but again, Lonnie Anderson being his ex-wife, then you got, of course, Sally Field, apparently the one that got away. That's what they say.
Dinah Shore, he was dating her. Yeah. She was like 20 years older than him.
Hey, Helen Hunt's the one that got away.
And he was married to some other woman before all that. Late 60s, early 70s or something like that. But, I'm just saying, he had a really broad range of not just acting, but life. Wow. When you look at him, it's like, whoa, everybody wants to live a life like that. I don't know. He'll be missed. So I know he will be missed. I know that.
Yeah. I just want to know how much his memorabilia or the Trans Am's going to go up.
That Trans Am ought to go up.
Well, you're not on social media, unfortunately, but we had posted about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, that Camaro was modifying, I think, 25 of them to Bandit Trans Ams, dude.
The Camaro?
Yeah, they were modifying it to a Trans Am. Oh, dude, it was sexy. Everything about it.
T-tops.
I wonder if Pontiac's gonna go for that. Because
Pontiac's not around.
Yeah, but they're the licenses, they can still hold the name, and they may be they may scoff.
Well, I don't think this was an unlicensed thing because he was there and he did promotion for. I think he signed all 25 of them.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was the. Yeah.
All I know is that car is iconic enough.
Yeah, because
you stick him in there or a picture of him with his signature.
Especially with the flaming bird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it'll go up. And sadly he passed, so it's gonna skyrocket there too.
So again, rest in peace.
Well, another note that I wanted to bring up about that is looking ahead. We always try to advise our viewers and our fans to think ahead. And we're losing people. It doesn't matter at what age. We're losing people from the 40s up into their 90s. So trying to get our fans to think ahead. If you hear about an announcement that a guest is going to be at a show, we'll do one that you don't hear often about. Richard Dreyfuss and Kathleen Turner. They've done shows in the Northeast, but they haven't been down here. Who wouldn't want to meet Richard Dreyfuss?
Yeah, especially that. Again, it all depends on what you find on fandom. People want him because of Jaws.
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters, right? For me, man, his best one, and I actually cry at the end of that film, is Mr. Holland's Opus. Yeah. Have you seen that film?
A long time.
That ending is
Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
He was you name it. He's done a lot of stuff.
But to your point, if you get a chance to see him, this may be your only shot.
Yeah.
Because again, remember, these guys have lives. These people have lives, and they're just regular people, just like you and I.
And they're getting older. There ain't nobody getting younger, So.
And then if you always wanted to and you never did, take the time, write a fan letter, send a tweet, a nice tweet.
Yes.
Send an email. Don't take that opportunity. Don't be afraid. You miss 100% of shots that you don't take. Take that chance. The one that comes to mind is Clint Eastwood. I would enjoy meeting Clint Eastwood and shaking his hand. Not so much because he's a great actor. that guy is just such an accomplished individual all around. He writes his own music. He's an actor, writer, director. I mean,
politician.
Oh my God, that guy is amazing. Just to shake his hand, you'd be like, man, it's amazing to meet you. So, you know, I don't ever think I'd meet him at a convention, but to just be able to just shake his hand and thank him.
They've all lived long, long lives. That's all I gotta say. Real long lives. So it's everybody says, "Oh, I'll eventually," or "I will." Yeah, eventually doesn't always come around.
I think his son also writes music.
Scott Eastwood.
Scott Eastwood, right? Scott Eastwood also
I
writes.
wouldn't be surprised.
Sure.
Well, I'm not talking about. Isn't there another Eastwood?
Is it?
He has a daughter.
Or I know he has a daughter, but there was another son that because I know when I saw the Gran Torino, they said music done by so and so Eastwood.
We'll have to look into it.
Yeah, I could have sworn. Yeah, we'll look it up. We'll find out. I could have sworn that he has another son.
Yeah, you know, I always wanted them to admit the son that they won't admit to, Hugh Jackman.
Oh, his look, yeah.
I swear, every time I see him, I'm like,
young version of him there.
That is Clint Eastwood right there, dude. But I think the timetable like doesn't work out or something. I don't know. You know, maybe you were talking about earlier on. Maybe he had him while he was in Italy. You know, and Hugh ended up in Australia. And we just don't know.
Long lost son, right?
I there's a lot of like iconic actors and actresses that are like, at this point, they're starting to turn the corner.
Meryl Streep,
yeah.
Glenn Close. Who else? Who else would you like to meet?
Robert Redford.
Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell, Robert Redford, yeah.
James Earl Jones. I mean, you name it. There's a lot of them that are like Sylvester Stallone. I mean, you gotta think about it. They're up in age. It's not like they're younger. You know, it's hard to imagine them, but they're older. They're way older. So, you know, it's like Burt Reynolds. I didn't even know he was ill or anything until
he died of a heart attack. But he was 80 something.
Yeah, he was 82, right? Was he 82?
82.
Right, 82. Yeah, so
you know, but at least it wasn't something, at least that we know of. It wasn't something from like alcohol addiction or drug addiction or anything like that. You know, I don't know his bio. I don't know if he ever touched the stuff, but you know, at least he wasn't in his 60s and he went out of a heart attack because of the abuse.
It's like I said, it's one of those things, and people are getting up there in age, and it's sad, like I said, because he's, for us at least in our age range, we remember him in a lot of iconic movies. And that's what's so hard to, I guess, deal with.
Well, a couple of iconic, not a lot. I mean,
for us, it's a lot because there's a lot of movies that we've seen him in, or things that we've seen him in, and he's more or less a well-noted name, I guess. That's what's, I guess, the biggest thing. It's like, man, you know, there's a lot of actors and actresses die every year, but he's more of a bigger name.
Yeah,
that you're like, wow.
He's a name you'll know. What do you got, Rach?
Kyle Eastwood.
there you go.
Yes.
Told you.
And he is his son. And
Right.
he's composed for other movies. He did Gran Torino, Invictus, Mystic River,
Mystic
Die
River,
Hard,
Mystic
J.
River.
Edgar. So yeah, he's done a lot.
Yeah.
Go Diego calling it from the side.
Boom. Right here.
And so one more note on passings, and then we'll move on. So when the Cowboys were playing the Panthers today, the commentators were nice enough to note that one of the cameramen that had been with them since the early 90s when it started had passed. I like that. I like that the culture has changed to where people that were normally not considered are now being given, some light at the end of the day. And so I really appreciate that, and I hope that continues on, is that, the people behind the camera, the people that do the writing and the filming and everything else, they're just as important as the actors and commentators on the screen. And they deserve it.
When it comes to, especially, for example, Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I just recently saw, I recently saw it again, because we bought the Blu-ray, right? So, I saw it, and of course that movie is dedicated, which I didn't realize, it's actually dedicated to a female stunt woman who actually passed away during the filming that.
Yeah.
You know what? I go, oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. And when they dedicated it, you know what? Remember, stunt women or stunt men are just as equally as important to that movie, because again, they're the behind the scenes actors. When you have that shot, those are the actors. So yeah, to your point.
Yep.
It takes a lot of little parts to
Yes.
make it all up.
Yeah.
And those people deserve as much recognition as everybody else. Sure, they may not get the shiny casket. Oh my God, did you see what's her name's casket, the Queen of Soul.
Aretha Franklin.
Oh, Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, it was like a rose gold casket. I mean, it was just fancy as hell. They may not get all of that, but it's a simple recognition that's appreciated by individuals like us. So, on to Deadpool 2. So, did you see the super duper cut?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I got this, but it's...
You just watched it. You just
I just put it in. Like,
if it didn't seem different from the theatrical one that you saw at the movies, then you didn't see the super duper cut. You'll pick up the subtleties like, hey, wait, that wasn't in the movie.
Like what's in there?
There's a scene where Juggernaut and the kid go to this like tall and fat store to get clothes.
Okay, then I did.
Yeah. They took out that badass song, "Welcome to the Party." Remember when they get to the final scene where they're gonna have to fight and they start going in? They're playing that song, "Welcome to the Party," in the super duper cut. That's gone. And my kids picked that up right away. They're like, "Hey, where's the song at?" And I was like, "They changed it." The fight scene. The fight scene in the super duper cut is the best thing about the extended cut. You get more Colossus and Juggernaut going at it.
So it's just an extended version of that fight, or
there's other little pieces in the movie, but out of the whole movie, is it worth seeing the extended cut for that fight scene? Yeah, I love watching Judge.
So they trimmed it for the movie editing time for.
Well, there were some things that they left out. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but there was a scene that they left out that you're like, okay, thank God they left that out. That wasn't safe for theaters. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen the Blu-ray.
It's always like that. There's always stuff that gets cut or unedited or left out for time allotment.
Yeah, time allotment, and also rating.
Yeah.
It's like they have to get it down to an R rating because they're not.
Get a NC-17 or X or something.
There's still no rating on Venom. I was in IMDb.
Just make it rated R. Just.
Now they're coming out with 3. Tom Hardy signed on for 3.
I honestly think it's gonna be PG-13 because they just get more people.
But the thing is, if you made it rated R, then you're okay. Then that tells me you made a serious movie.
But it has to warrant it. Like that clip that you see in the trailer where he eats that guy. I better see body parts. Not just one big gulp, but I want to see a couple of chomps and some blood.
It varies. Like, I'll give you an example. Like a PG-13 movie can use one F-bomb. And it's allowed. An R rating can have, multiple, obviously. A PG-13 can allow body parts seen flying, but you can't see it in like graphic detail.
Gory.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. They can get away with it. And to me, I'm with Diego. I'd rather, if they're gonna do it, make it an R because of the content of Venom's story. If you're gonna make it a PG-13, then it's gonna be like, you're already going in like, okay, wait a minute, what are they gonna hint at? What is it gonna be bumped around? It's not gonna be complete the way it should be, and all that kind of thing.
And see, and that's what we had talked about on the previous shows, is that Sony should just go ahead and focus on the Venomverse being R-rated, graphic, gory, hardcore, and then when Marvel decides to bring in Spider-Man, PG-13. There you go. Because I
just have that funny feeling that the Venom, again, I hope I'm wrong. Is that the Venom's gonna be similar to the Mummy, the one with Tom Cruise. It's like they're gonna go for that dark version, but when you actually go in there, you're like
campy, kind of like.
Yeah.
They go for the PG-13, like you said, to appeal to wider audiences. They want the kids. They want,
They want to push the merchandise and push the things like that, the clothing, apparel, all that stuff. The only, like, I'll give you an example. When they released the animated version of The Killing Joke, or they announced they were going to, this was years ago now, I thought, this is good. However, knowing The Killing Joke, I would honestly, it's going to be hardcore, but I would have rather they had released an NC-17 version of it than an R version of it. Because you want to see the Joker at his most horrible.
Because that's what that story is.
And that's what the story is, exactly. I don't want, I know it was an R rating and I know why they did it, and it had language and, adult situation, all that junk. But I'd rather have seen an NC-17 where the Joker is at the utmost than, okay, we did an R version just to do it. No, that's the same thing with Venom. I'd rather see a hard, or at least an R version, than a PG-13 where they just skated by to get that, to get more people in the seats. You're gonna get the people see it anyway. They're gonna see it when they buy the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. just make it an R version. Just
the adults are gonna take their kids.
Exactly, and
Well,
and
you know,
they're the ones that want to see
the
it.
success of Deadpool is evident.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
but some theaters, one theater, I'm not going to name any names, but for Deadpool 2, we weren't allowed to take the kids.
Well, it just depends if they have if they have the R rating. Like I can't think of right now, but a lot of horror ones will say like no one under 17 admitted without a parent or a guardian.
No, but we were there.
What I'm saying is they use it for horror a lot, but if they're following that strictly, the theater, they'll just say it's an R rating, no one under 17 allowed without parent or guardian. So it doesn't matter what movie it is, basically. Yeah. So they could be sticking to that rule, even though most people would be like, give me a break, it's not that hard of a movie or that bad of a movie.
Well, fortunately with Venom, we have our own private screening, so I don't have to worry about anybody telling me I can't take my kids, because my kids are excited to go see Venom.
I just want to see the content. It better be. I mean, he's Venom, dude. Come on, I get it. He's a villain. That's what Venom is. I'm sorry,
But they're already making him out to be more of an anti-hero, so.
No, we see. I don't want to look at that. I like that part in the trailer. This power isn't exactly bad. I like that line. All right. Because, he is a nemesis, an adversary to Peter Parker, but the comics have molded him in certain ways. There's times where he's been on a team. There's times where he's been for good, an anti-hero, as Rachel said. But when I meet Venom for the first time, I want him to be the nemesis, the adversary. Marvel can have fun with that after the 3 movies.
He always reminds me, of Catwoman. Again,
plays both sides.
Yeah, plays both sides. That's what he reminds me of.
But the bad part was when he started, he wasn't that. He was just straight up villain. That was it.
Now I know I can't ask.
That's how Catwoman started. Straight up villain.
Yeah.
But then because she's so similar to Batman, Batman takes a liking to her. She fits.
And but that is the character evolving over time, where now they're starting at this point instead of with the villainous side.
Yeah.
I'm saying I want to see some all-out slaughtering by him. That's what he is. He's a hulking villain type person, not a good person. I mean,
and even Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock was an asshole.
There you go.
He wasn't this nice guy. He wasn't concerned. Even like in the trailer, you get that Tom Hardy is trying to be like a legit journalist and uncover the story. It's not Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock didn't care as long as the story was popular.
He'd step over everybody to get that.
But you got that in the trailer. You get various versions of him. You get he's polite, but then you get that scene where he didn't care what that guy thought. He was going to get the story, and that's when he gets escorted out.
It alluded to what you were saying, like when you said, I like how this sometimes it's good, sometimes bad, and all that.
This power isn't exactly bad.
That's the reason Venom is the way Venom is from the comics is because of Eddie Brock's personality. Because Eddie Brock made it that way. Venom took onto it, but his personality was already like, I don't care.
The symbiote amplified what Brock was.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what it goes by. It's
see, and in the trailer, you don't get that. Once Venom takes over, or the symbiote takes over, that hearing you guys say that worries me, because you see Eddie Brock and he's like, why would we do that? And you see him apologizing, guys, you really don't want to do this, and he almost becomes like scared, and I'm like, that doesn't strike me as the Eddie Brock that I'm familiar with.
You kind of see that in the comic, but it's one out of like every 50, 60
panels.
Yeah, you not even that, like out of the comic itself. He didn't all the time, but he would say like I guess the word struggle, that he was doing hurting people, and then the Venom overtake would be like, too bad, this is what we're gonna do. But
you get that in the trailer.
Yeah.
I say we can do whatever we want. Yeah. And it's convincing that. The scene that I'm actually looking for, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not reading the trailer right, but it looks like there's a scene where Tom Hardy falls off a building or something, and he's like totally, pretzeled up, and Venom, the symbiote, starts and straightens him out. And I'm just like, man, I got to see that. I want to see, almost making Eddie Brock invincible. So I'm hoping that's what that scene is. I'm looking forward to it. Like, what does he do? Does he fall off a building? Brock's on the floor, and then he just comes back together.
Kind of reminds me of the Hulk, right? The Incredible Hulk, the one with the, Edward Norton. Remember when he falls out of the helicopter, and then he doesn't change, and it's not until he comes out of the, he comes out of the freaking the street, comes out of the asphalt, and then all of a sudden he's the Incredible Hulk. And again, it's that okay, we want to give it to this guy because he'll turn into the Hulk, but if we give it to this guy, which what's his name?
The Abomination.
Yeah, the Abomination. But what was the actor's name?
Tim Roth.
Yeah, Tim Roth. If we gave it to his character, man, he turns into this. Just because of who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was saying they have a lot of backing to use as examples for that. I just hope they don't screw it up. That's all I gotta say, because they can easily screw it up.
Are they gonna kid it down, or
exactly?
And it shouldn't be kidded down.
Let me put it like this: would you go see a straight up Alien movie if it was PG-13?
I don't even remember what Aliens was.
R.
Was it?
86 was R rating.
I didn't even remember.
That's my point. If it was PG-13, would you have wanted to see it?
I didn't even care.
But think about it. That wouldn't have gotten what you saw. They would have taken.
What was so graphic in Aliens that it got an R rating?
It was all the death. Remember, when they got Bishop and they split him. Even though he was an android, back then
that was considered gory.
Yeah, because all that, because when they split him, it's too gory for kids.
The only thing that was gory was when the chest person kill me.
Yeah, that too, and then what else?
All the violence, over the top violence. You gotta remember it was 86, so that they had to go like that. That's what I'm saying. It's just different times, but the same thing. If they toned it down to make a PG-13 movie, they would have taken a lot of what you like in that movie to make it a PG-13.
Even the original Predator, it was an R rating.
Yeah.
And
it looks tame by today's standards.
Yeah, it looks tame, right? But it was an R rating. You're like, wow. Because remember, Jesse Ventura's character, the chest, man, you saw oh shit. That was the first time you actually saw it.
Or Hawkins,
you saw ribs.
Before you got to any of that, you saw General Hopper's team hanging
skinless. Yeah, skinless. Yeah, you're like, wow. That was just. But again, they didn't kid it down. It's like they didn't make a movie for the kids
because they knew they'll make adults.
So you attracted the adults, and you see us trying to be a serious movie. Like, man, this is like, what the hell am I watching? And then that was the first time we actually got to see heat. I won't say on a film.
Thermal.
Yeah, thermal imaging. It's like, oh man, this is badass. Like, what am I, what am I watching?
There were new techniques, but also, like I say, they didn't make it for kids. It wasn't made for kids. It was not made for children. Period.
Well, on that note, and then I want to plug our Venom screening. But on that note, if it weren't for Steve Wang and Stan Winston, the Predator that we know and love wouldn't be here today, because they took what they were working with Van Damme and they turned it into something greater.
Yes. Yeah.
So because the Predator, the image, I'm sure you guys have seen the ones that Van Damme was wearing the suit. Yeah, that
passing out. It was too hot.
That wouldn't have worked, man. That would have been a shitty ass movie.
Well, it was supposed to be he was quicker and faster, but even in the heat they were filming in, they couldn't. And there's a lot of reasons. And it wouldn't be the same effect. It would have been a faster Predator, but it wouldn't have been as menacing a Predator.
Yeah, it looked like a bug more than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. Steve Winston and Steve Wang, Stan Winston and Steve Wang are the reason. Same thing with Terminator, same thing with Aliens, and so many things that Stan Winston touched. So, a big thanks to him for giving us
practical effects. I know we have CGI, but I always think there should be more practical effects than CGI, even in the case of Venom.
Yep, I agree.
I think there should be more practical effects.
We said that earlier on, that we wish somebody was doing a suit actor instead of CGI. We said that earlier on, but it's too late. Venom's up in less than 3 weeks. Venom will be in the theaters, and so here comes the plug. So October 4th, here in San Antonio, Texas, at Regal Cinema Theaters in the Quarry Market, we will have our own private screening. There are 130 seats available. You get an exclusive Venom shirt that you cannot get anywhere else. We got the rights to use the artist's imagery on our shirts. Limited to 200 shirts. You get entered into a drawing we're gonna have. You get to win a Diamond Select Marvel Premiere Venom statue. One winner will be chosen there at the screening. You must be there to win. Tickets are $30, and again, you can get your tickets on our website, www.geekcultures.com.
Did they get concessions?
No, not this time, yeah. So John's asking, are concessions included? They are not, but Regal is more than happy to sell you the concessions of your dreams when you're there attending our screening.
Nachos, popcorn, and soda. All that stuff.
Don't forget the ices.
That too.
Ices. All right, so before we move on to other topics, you guys had questions about peppermint?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, again, we talked about it last time. And you had mentioned, hey, it looks good, and I'm the one that said no. And again, just because of the mom issue, it's like, how in the hell does a soccer mom go into a freaking assassin? Yes, granted, you said 5 years, Rachel. But what happened with them? Did they explain?
Yeah, they touched on it.
Okay, so what was it?
She disappeared to Asia for 5 years. She did some MMA training. She did some I guess like terrorist camp style training. Some special ops training.
Through who?
They don't really say. They just kind of throw it out there.
So it's kind of like it jumps from. I don't know. I didn't see the movie, but I'm assuming it jumps from the people dying till then the next thing you do, it's like 5 years later.
Well, actually, it starts out with her killing one of the people in the entire organization that she's going after. It starts out with that. Then it shows soccer mom, really just kind of touches on their life and everything. Everything falls apart because of her husband, and he didn't even do anything. The fact that he considered a job is what got him killed. Him and his daughter killed. And so you see that, and then she disappears after the court case. They go to court, and she sees how corrupt the system is, and so that motivates her to flee and go, get some training. And then she comes back as a badass and starts cleaning up the city. So then they turn her into kind of a superhero because she's living on Skid Row in LA, and in that area, there's crime everywhere else. But on the police screen, wherever they can see where crimes happen, in that area, there's no crime because of her. And then she lives out of a van, almost 18-ish. She's got an arsenal like you wouldn't believe. She patches up her own wounds. And then so she takes on the cartel. And so that's the thing. The guys that killed her family work for the cartel. So she kills them and then goes after the cartel and kills them. So for me, it was good. There's action. It's entertaining. It's graphic. It's graphic. You see heads blown off, parts pulled off. So it's graphic. Where it went wrong was the writing and the fact that the studio wants to milk it for a sequel. Now, it hasn't been announced. Of course, they're going to wait and see how it does in theater. But the ending where, well, first off, before you even get to the ending, she's fighting with the head boss and she gets shanked. And that was disappointing because I've had that training of actual, how prisoners shank each other. You're familiar with that, yeah. being a jailer. But I've had that training in the service. And so this guy shanks her once and then runs off. And I'm like, really?
No, they don't.
They don't shank you once. They shank you 10 or 100 times, dude. Yeah. And so...
Yep. Yeah, they want to make sure.
Yeah.
Nope. Shanks her once, and I swear it was in the left side. But when she runs off, she's holding the right side. And I'm like, did they switch that? I'd have to go back and watch the movie to see. But I'm like, because if you get punctured on the left side, pancreas, right?
Yes.
So, but I swear they switched it. So that was one. And then this entire time she's bleeding out and whatever. And then she finally gets to the point where she fights him. The cops are drawing down on her. And so she does her thing and the cops are shooting at her and then they come over and they make it look like they got her and she disappears. Not even John Wick does that. And that's what I was comparing this to because this entire time I'm sitting there watching, I'm like,
so okay, it's like almost cool. Punisher and Batman put together but a female version.
So, well, I was thinking it was a female version of John Wick. I'm like, because she's got close quarter battles, she takes people out with her hands, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, this is cool. But the suspension of disbelief ended when the cops had her point blank and she escaped. And I was like, come on. John Wick didn't even escape. John Wick got shot by so many people. He was hobbling around. He had some help, but he didn't escape. He never escaped an injury. This chick escaped 5 cops drawing down point blank. And I was like, nope, that's it. I'm done.
It's like the Fast and the Furious.
Well, you lost it when you said Jennifer Garner. I was going to say.
None of them have a scratch on her. Scratch on them.
She just doesn't. She doesn't have that look to me like a badass that I want to see fighting. I'm sorry, she doesn't.
Started on Alias, so.
That's not winning this argument, Rachel.
That's how people were introduced to her. And then after the show ended, she did all the romantic comedies and.
She married Ben Affleck, and it was just.
I'm just saying, she just does not look intimidating to me in any way, shape, or form for that type of movie. And even in Aliens, which I never watched, but I'm just saying she just doesn't have that look.
She just doesn't do it for me, man.
Well, for me, it's like, again, it was the trailer is what ruined it for me, because again, I remember her as Elektra in Daredevil, right? And of course the movie Elektra.
Before we go any further, that ain't winning this argument either.
Okay.
I didn't bring that up. I already knew that was gonna happen.
I'm not talking about Ben Affleck. I'm talking about her as Elektra. Okay, again, she actually did real work with size and all that. Okay. She did real martial arts. She did train for that. So you know what? I know she's been somewhat trained in that aspect. I can give her that. She does have that physique appeal. Now, does she have that menacing appeal? No, she doesn't. However, what killed it in the trailer was exactly what I alluded to. It was like, okay,
it's far-fetched.
It's far-fetched. I go, what soccer mom is going to go from here to China to go get trained, and then they come back and take on the cartel? That's where you lost me.
Well, the final thing is, like I said, the producers are greedy because they're setting it up for a sequel. There's nothing. If she had died at the end, it would have been honorable. You redeemed yourself. You redeemed your family. You completed your mission. What is she going to do in the next one? With John Wick, there is a, what's the word that we want to go for? Because they're doing the show, the
continuity of it?
Not the continuity. There's a universe. With John Wick, when you first meet him, then you meet the Continental, and you meet all these people, and you're like, wow, this is deep. You call somebody, and they come over and things like that.
There's a history of it.
Yeah. So, in part 2, you get more of that. You get the high table and stuff like that. Okay, in this movie, she killed the 3 guys. Those guys were gone. The guys that actually pulled the trigger, they're gone. Now she's going after their bosses. They're gone. What are you going to do? Are you really going to go after the cartel in Mexico in the next one? Really? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to continue to pursue it. There's nothing more. With John Wick, we want to see how the story ends. Okay, the Continentals cut you off. You don't have access to anybody, and the whole world's gunning for you. How are you going to get out of it this time?
It's done by the same director who did Taken.
Which one?
Luc Besson.
No, but for John Wick or Peppermint?
No, Peppermint.
Oh, okay,
Peppermint. Yeah.
And he's had some good movies.
Yes, he's had some good movies, but I don't know, this one, something about Peppermint just didn't.
I'd say red box it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably entertaining. But it's just that, just based on the trailer, you felt flat on giving me the sell. I mean, and you're saying it. You know what? The writing, the story, just didn't attach.
The incontinuity.
Yeah, you know what? I think it would have worked if she was already prior something. You know what? If she was prior service,
what's that movie
with
Gina Davis, where she's like a sleeper cell? She's
that's an old one.
It's with Samuel Jackson. He has hair actually in that movie. It's something like that. Like what he's saying. Like she had prior training, and then she becomes a housewife or something for a long time, and then she gets either reactivated. I don't remember the exact movie how it went, but she gets reactivated, and she has those skills already in place, which would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Not just I learned all these skills in 5 years.
For example, I love those those Femme Nikita movies. But again, they raise these girls as
Yeah, they're trained.
They're trained assassins. I.e. Black Widow. It's like shit. They're trained assassins. I was so buy into that, and I was like, man, let's go see that movie. But that soccer mom thing, it just killed me. I was like, no, there's no way.
So on that same note,
yeah.
All right, have you watched any of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? Are you a fan of that series?
No, I haven't even seen it yet.
Those are pretty good. Now there's a newest one, and the trailer is before Peppermint. The Girl in the Spider's Web, I think it's called. It's the next one coming out. But the trend that I see going on with Peppermint. Oh, and that was the other thing. The name of the movie, right? Peppermint came from the ice cream that her daughter ate the minute she died. That's what it's from. She wanted peppermint ice cream, so it's not the daughter's name, it's the ice cream.
Oh, okay.
So another.
This is not winning me over.
No, I'm not trying to. That's how lame that. Anyways, so back to Girl in the Spider's Web. So that trailer looks interesting, but what Hollywood is doing, I feel, is going along with the whole Me Too movement. Is they're turning these great characters into now superheroes. So now these strong women are avenging all the wrongs, that women have been imposed to in the past. Peppermint made sense. Her family was brutally murdered right in front of her. I understand. The one with the girl in the spider's web. I like the series, but now that I see it going this way, I feel like it's a Fast and Furious.
Well, have you read the books? Cause
I haven't.
Well, that's what the course it takes in the books. I know more or less that she keeps it going, but it's not like it's Hollywood changing the story. Like that's what the books are.
So they didn't screw.
But do you feel that they're changing it for the better, or they're taking away?
No, that's what I said. It's not that they're changing the story. That's what
that's
happens
what they
in
are
the
already.
books.
It's
yeah.
already there.
And the books came out 10, 15 years ago. I remember them being a big hit, and then the movie started gaining popularity, and they did the movies overseas as well. There's two different girls with a dragon tattoo. But I like the American version. I think I've watched the overseas version maybe once. It's just it's not a bad thing. It's just they're kind of like I said, like with the Fast and the Furious. Instead of having the characters stick to what it was, they're giving them almost a superhero like quality. It's just like you don't have to go there to attract the fan base. You just stay with what the books were about.
They're keeping up with Marvel and DC. More Marvel, I would think. But I don't know. Well, I don't know. I don't think. But I can tell you about sequels. I saw the Creed, the new trailer.
How did I miss that?
With Drago. It's Drago's son.
Yeah, I know that.
That's the new one has Felicia Rashad. Well, at least the one I saw. Felicia Rashad. I guess she's playing his grandmother.
Did you see a teaser trailer? Because I hadn't.
No, it's a long trailer because it has with Stallone talking.
Creed?
Creed
2.
Yeah.
Stallone's talking to him and he's telling him like he tells him.
Did you ever see the first one, Creed?
No, not the movie, but
Felicia Rashad is the
girlfriend to the son of Paulo.
It's a mother.
The mother.
Okay.
Oh, my bad.
Well, in this one they show it starts with Stallone talking to Creed, and he's telling him, I can do it. I can take him out or something like that. And he goes, you're making the same mistake your dad made. And then you don't need to see nothing yet. And then he keeps going and going, and he tells him, okay, Creed tells Stallone, he goes, do you think I can't win? And he just looks at him like he doesn't say it, but he has to look like, no, I don't think you can win, And then it goes on. That's when they show Felicia Rashad talking to him, and she's telling him, don't make it about your dad, it's about you, and there's parts of this, that. And then at the very end, that's when you see it's Drago. It says Drago 2, and he turns around, and he doesn't look like him, but you just see a real quick flash of him.
Yeah. I've seen that teaser.
Who is it directed by?
I have no clue.
I think it's the same one as the first.
Shane Black, right?
No.
Was it Shane Black, right? It was Shane Black that directed?
I have no idea.
I forgot who.
It looks neat. I'm curious if they're gonna have.
I'm gonna see it.
You know what? I would actually like to see if it actually follow like a Rocky movie.
Yeah.
Like a Rocky movie. If it, have Creed lose. Because again, remember in Rocky, he lost. Mr. T. In part 3. He lost. In the middle of the movie.
Well, part 4, he got killed.
Yeah. Shit,
that's the thing.
Got killed, it's like.
But see, I'm curious to see if Dolph Lundgren will make an or
Dolph Lundgren's in it.
Or even Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah, Brigitte Nielsen's gonna.
I don't think she's
coming back. She'd have to be the mom. More than likely,
right?
Yeah.
You would speculate.
More than likely, she'd have to be.
Drago had an affair.
The director for Creed 2 is Stephen Caple Jr.
Can you see if Brigitte Nielsen's in there, please?
Okay, so it's not the same director.
That's the first one?
Yeah, the first one. Who was the first one, Rachel?
That's what I'm looking at.
Well, the thing I liked about the trailer, though, was even though it's a Rocky offshoot movie, I don't really think Stallone's going to be allowed in this movie. Just that scene that they're showing. Because every clip they showed, I never saw him training him. I never saw him in the background. I never saw him
He'll
even
be
in
in there.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. It seems like it's only that talk that he's in.
But it's the first teaser, I'm grateful that Hollywood has started to get that rhythm of 1, 2, 3 movie. We've gotten away from extended trailers. Now we're just getting 3, and thank you for.
I'd be shocked if I saw like City actors, but I'd really be shocked if they, for some reason, they brought Mr. T in as just like a cameo. Just, I mean, because he never died, you know. Think about it. They never killed him off. He just he got beat.
Well, that would be even interestinger if T had a son that was just like his father, and Creed had to go through that. But how would fans react? You know, because that's too close to the original Rocky.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it to someone, but we need to see him like say, hey, you know, I fought against your father.
Hey, sucker, you ain't gonna make it.
Or I fought against these guys,
or whatever. Or if he was like if he was a trainer. Too.
Yeah, something like that.
Because they did bring back the original trainer for Creed. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember? I don't remember the guy's name.
That's what I'm saying. It would make sense if you saw people like that. That's what I'm saying. Even Brigitte Nielsen. I mean, she was like kind of weird in that the original one, but I'm just saying it would make the continuity better. It makes sense as to see her demeanor, because she was the one pushing them in Rocky IV all the time. We were pushing Drago and all that because of the political powers and all that junk.
It's crazy how much that chick changed from Cobra to Rocky IV. Well, remember when you saw her in Cobra and she was a model, and then Rocky IV, she just had a totally different demeanor to her.
Well, again, remember, she was supposed to play Russian, that real clean look. So, you know, I actually liked her in Rocky IV.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then not only that, like when Apollo's getting beat up and then and they're just smoking away, like
she's not paying. Yeah, like we're above y'all. That's pretty much how it was. That's what I'm saying. Her demeanor in that movie was very much the driving force behind Drago and all that, and keeping the steroid thing secret and all that kind of junk and everything.
That movie, that's probably.
I mean, it was political at the time, but it was still a good movie.
For me, that's the best Rocky. Right,
and that's probably the Commander-in-Chief's one of his favorite movies. That one and Red Dawn.
Yeah, that's the best Rocky. To me, Rocky IV is the best movie. The best Rocky, best Rocky movie.
Of all those, that is by far the toughest opponent he fought. Yeah. I'll give him that.
Did you see Brigitte Nielsen in there?
I didn't see her in the cast, and the director for Creed 1 is Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler, there you go.
Well, I just thought it was interesting, like I said, and I'd be shocked if you see Stallone more than you see that just talking thing, because I was watching, I was like, I don't see him anywhere besides that part.
Did you see he recently posted on Instagram that his Balboa Productions is up and running, so congratulations to Stallone for finally establishing his own production company.
He's got the next Rambo coming out.
I'm not even looking forward to that, dude.
He might resurrect a bunch of old stuff like that, man. I don't know.
Why not?
Again, and on Rambo 4, the last thing we see, Rambo, he's at home, he's walking down the street, and that's the last thing you see. I just don't know where they're going to go with the story,
cartel. That already floated along.
What?
He was going after the cartel.
I don't want that. I want to see a vet who's been in the for so damn long come home and just take a load off, man. This guy deserves a break. He doesn't need to go out in a blaze of glory, and that's kind of what I feel like Stallone's going to do with the characters. Rambo's going to go out in a blaze of glory. It's time to retire, man. If anything, this guy's got a lot of mental issues. It's a great platform for Stallone to address the PTSD mental issues that's clouding our country these days. And so many people have so many mental issues that we don't know about.
For me, I would have liked him to go back to the town.
That he was in with Brian Denny and all that?
I would actually like to see him go back to Hope to see how it
changed.
See how it changed. And if they still resent him, for doing what he did to the town.
It's a different time.
But no. If
the people were important.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Kids or whatever.
If they still resent him for what he did to the town.
At the time, yeah.
If they're like, oh, that's that fucker who's causes all the bullshit, and if they're gonna give him hell, then you know what? I think that would have been really
would have been
cool.
A better play of it.
Now he has to go. Now he has to revisit that damn thing. Is Brian Denny still alive?
Yeah.
You can bring Brian Denny back.
He's old,
but the Colonel's the one that passed away.
Yeah. Some of the other big part people have died too, but Brian Denny's still alive.
Well, would have been cool if his team was still alive.
Oh, but they were all killed off.
Yeah, but they were all killed off. That would have been cool, but because I remember one Ortega. I remember.
Okay, well then would you all be open to see? It wouldn't obviously be him, but he could do a talking or a flashback where they could do a younger one with how he gets trained. To go into that, it had to be a circa Vietnam age. Yeah.
Type thing.
What, to see how you got captured and all that?
No, we not even like when Trotman picks him and the other guys. I need you for this team or whatever they're gonna train on. Because when he says I trained them all, I picked them. So would you all want to see a movie based on that?
No. For me, I would like to see him go back to Hope. and then just end it there.
Hey, what do you mean? That's the end of the movie?
Well, that's the end of the franchise.
No, that's the end of the franchise. You go back to Hope, something goes off, and then you see the movie, blah, 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 okay. And then, you know what? That's it. That's the end of the franchise.
It brings the story full
circle.
circle.
Yeah, it brings full circle.
Well, I agree with you that this needs to be the last movie. I'm not really looking forward to it, but this needs to be the last Rambo.
I mean, I enjoyed the last Rambo.
Oh, yeah.
The last one is what you wanted to see him be when he was...
younger.
Well, yeah, but obviously they couldn't, but I'm just saying. I liked the original First Blood. I thought that one was really good.
That was really good.
I'd have to watch again. I really like 2.
Well, the difference between 1 and 2 is 2 had more of the shooting, or more, I guess,
action.
The weaponry. Yeah, the 1 was more, I don't know,
political,
psychological. No, like more thinking, because you would see him do stuff. Yeah, there you go. He'd do stuff that you would think, wow, he knows how to get in and out of things without muscle. It was more like thinking to get out of things.
Yeah, and again, it was it was all that training from him being a Green Beret. So it's like,
and you got to think at the time, it was like 82, 81 when it came out.
Yeah, 81, I think, it was down to earth. It was real. It was actually real.
That's what I said. It made sense.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, what made it really good is the ending. The ending, he goes, because he's still in that
military mindset.
He was like, dude, I'm in war, and then he goes, like, you know what? But then he touches on, how how the vets are treated. Because when I came home, they treated us like shit, blah 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 blah.
It's like, I can't hold a job, I can't but I'm good enough to drive your tanks and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. That was what was made that movie good. I agree with you.
Just saw it, like, man, it really touched a chord.
Because you got to remember, at that time, this is realistically the end of Vietnam, more or less, and it was the beginning of the 80s. But he made a point. Was like, look, I'm good enough to do all this over here, but over here I'm nothing to all of y'all, and so all I know is this, and that's it.
And again, it goes back how he was treated when he went into Hope. Yeah. Again, he was just there visiting a friend because he wanted to go visit a friend because he lost all his friends. So he went to go visit his friend, which he found out he was dead because of the war, and then he just...
You're like, you're a drifter.
And then now he's just drifting along. He just, okay, what am I doing? Brian Denny, he sees him, tries to get him out of town because of what he was wearing. He was wearing that green jacket, and then
he just like a derelict. That's what he didn't want
to get out of my town.
And how interesting. Times haven't changed.
And that's what I'm saying is, for that time frame, they touched on that. Well, he's one of the writers in the movie. They touched on that, considering that it wasn't as big as it is now. It was kind of known, but not the way it is now. But for back then, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the movie, I'm with him. That's what you take from that, is like, he did all this damage and blah blah. He was a badass. I get it, but his inner demons are tearing him apart, and he's asking the guy that he trusts, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not seen as more here? But they want to get me out of here. They don't. I don't want to be seen. They don't want to see me, basically. And that's what it comes down to.
Like, I would like to see him go back to Hope, and just full circle, just like
that. I agree. The full circle.
Yeah,
I agree.
And then just end it. Right? You know what? You're done. You end it. But again, in Rambo, they said, I'm not going to go back. He says, I'm not going to go back to America. I think that one guy, he says, things have changed. You got to go back. Things have changed.
Yeah,
we actually respect our troops now. We thank them for service. That's what he's basically saying.
Yeah.
Things have changed because, again, when Rambo came out, First Blood came out, it's like that was the end of, just like you said, that was the end of Vietnam.
Yeah, they treated him like shit.
Again, to all those servicemen who served in Vietnam, y'all were really wronged.
Especially that war, man. That was like,
again, these are just young men. Maybe you remember being 18, and you're doing what you're ordered to do.
Your service.
Yeah, your service, and for them to come home to be treated as they were.
But it was the climate at the time in the nation.
Yeah.
When you're overseas following orders, and then you come back to a climate that is very loose and very open, and then they don't understand. All they hear is the sensationalism that the media throws out there, and these heroes become, villains. Yeah.
Just because of the uniform they're wearing.
Yep.
Good.
So.
Well, anyway, like I said, Drago too.
Yeah. How do we go from there?
Because we went on that movie.
Still
on this.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to see how it's gonna come out. But like I said, I saw that trailer, and he's giving his speech to him, and I just thought, I don't see him much more than this speech. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes from there.
Well, as we wrapped up, Diego, you were mentioned before we started the cast that you wanted to bring up that Jeff Goldblum was announced for Alamo City Comic Con, coming at the end of October.
Well, I don't know if I mentioned it. I think it was one of these two, right?
Hey, man.
But like, no, I'm just saying again. We're based here in San Antonio. For those of you that don't know, but again, we do. I mean, for our next Alamo City Comic Con, which is coming the last weekend of October. Again, we do have Arnold Schwarzenegger coming up. Jeff Goldblum just got announced, right? And again, there's some notable stars, and as we were talking earlier, this is probably again for Arnold Schwarzenegger to be at a con. This may be your only chance, right? I don't know if he's going to do other cons.
He has
and
never
again,
done
Lou Ferrigno's going to be at this con, and you go, man, you got two
pumping iron,
two of them together. You know what?
You're only missing Franco Columbo.
Yeah.
Nobody's missing Franco Columbo.
Oh, that's messed up. I'm actually surprised that Apple hasn't. I haven't seen it. Maybe you guys hasn't put together a pumping iron VIP package.
I know.
I haven't seen it on the thing. But
what are you thinking, Apple?
Pumping iron. I mean, maybe they don't want to, but I would think they would want to, considering that's what started them into it. And especially those two. Come on, man, give me a break.
Yeah. The one movie I can actually forget about Arnold Schwarzenegger would be, I think, his first film, Hercules.
In New York.
Yeah, Hercules in New York.
Dubbed his voice.
Dude, oh my God, you should see Rachel.
I don't even remember it. I don't know if I've seen it.
It's horrible, dude.
It is horrible.
But to be fair, Lou Ferrigno did a Hercules movie too in the 80s that was pretty horrible.
I liked Lou Ferrigno's Hercules.
I'll put it this way. Sharknado is better than that Hercules.
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah,
it's bad.
No, it is bad. It is bad.
No, but to get Rachel talking, you just got to talk about the Jim Lee appearance.
Yeah, I mean that one's the one I'm excited for. He's an iconic artist, and like we were talking last time, you got the 3 signatures with his package, and I'm like, okay, well I have this, and I started thinking about.
Well, let me ask you this: what is it about Jim Lee that captured? I guess what is it? Something that he does that other artists do different?
There's more detail in his art. It's not overdone, but there's just something about his style. Because there's other artists that have very similar styles, but they're lacking that detail.
The shading.
Like, for example, what
his cross hatching, the way that he shades his pencils.
But too, that has to do also with Scott Williams, who's been his inker for forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's the team. It's Jim Lee pencils, Scott Williams inks, and Alex Sinclair color.
Yeah, see, for a lot of people that don't understand that, what she's saying, and a lot of you will understand, is that it's not just a one-man show. There's a multiple group that usually handles most comics or graphic novels. So.
And again, going back full circle to what we were talking about from the beginning, I've said for numerous years is that once Stan Lee leaves our level of existence, Jim Lee should become the next Stan Lee, the next sought after artist, creator that's out there.
Any relation? Again, I don't know.
No. He's Korean and
okay. Again, I don't know. I don't know who he is.
Well, Jim Lee's American, but he's of Korean
descent.
Descent. There you go.
Yeah.
But there's no connection there like that at all.
No. just that notoriety, Stan Lee. If forgive me I'm forgetting his name right off the top of my head. The other counterpart to Stan Lee.
From DC?
No, from Marvel.
The counterpart.
Jack Kirby. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. It was right there on my tongue.
Yeah.
If Jack Kirby was still here, he would be the one that everybody's going to the conventions to see. But since Jack Kirby left us a long time ago, it's Stan, and that's what I'm looking at. Is that's how it's going to continue as we get older, as our children grow up. It's going to go from Jack Kirby, now it's Stan Lee. From Stan Lee, it's going to be Jim Lee. After Jim Lee, it'll be. Any guesses? I'd say Joe Quesada, but I mean there could be somebody else.
It depends. Like, see, with Jack Kirby's style of artistry was kind of like, I mean, for the time, it was what they had to work with. It's simplistic compared to like newer artists, I guess. But Stan Lee was more the writer and artist. He did some art, but it was mostly the writing,
creating the characters.
So it's kind of like hard. Like if people that want to see Jack Kirby because when he was alive, rather. Is more like you're looking at nostalgia. Whereas Stan Lee, you have to understand, Stan Lee did the writing, art, all this other kind of stuff. So it's kind of it's like Batman. If you saw Bob Kane, he was more the artist and writer of it. There's plenty of other artists that have done Batman, but are they as good as, or was Bob Kane as good as some of them? No, I don't think there's some better artists that have done his stuff. Jim Lee has done better stuff than Bob Kane could ever do. But it's a nostalgia thing. That's what I'm saying. It just varies. Like McFarlane, when he was hired by Marvel, they based it on I like this, and he did his offshoot. Some people may like him, they may not. They had done his style. His storytelling may not be as strong as some of the DC people or stuff like that. It just varies. You know, that's what I'm saying. And Jim Lee, I don't think Jim Lee does any of the stories, does he?
He did Wildcats.
Well, that was when he was with McFarlane then, right?
Image.
Yeah.
Image Comics.
Yeah, with Image, he did that. But too, with Jim Lee is, as far as something iconic that people don't really realize it's his work, is what the current X-Men, the blue and yellow, that is Jim Lee's designs from 1992.
A lot of people take that for granted. It's kind of like when Wolverine wore the brown uniform, and then they got that blue. That's his influence or his creation. So a lot of people take it for granted, but she's right. And then it's like, well, if you like that, that's him. You should be thanking for that. You know.
Well, and I know there's going to be a lot of
there'll be a lot
slabs.
of people to see him there.
No, there's going to be a lot of slabs cracked open because a lot of people have that X-Men graded at a 9.8, and those are going to get cracked open to get his autograph. So
that he has, I don't want to say following, but he's got his name's up there. It isn't like they don't know who he is. Trust me. So he'll have a line. So if you're listening, get your stuff early.
Your VIP pass. It's 150.
Get it very early. We don't see him that often.
Do you have it?
Yeah, do you have yours? Come on, man. What are you waiting on?
You're the one bragging about it.
Do you know how busy I've been? So.
Your argument's not winning.
Yeah, there you go. Well, the point is, Jim Lee. I can honestly say I think San Diego and New York are the only big ones he does. So this is like out of his normal zone.
Well, he's done other ones because
he usually sticks to the West Coast.
Yeah,
so he doesn't have the West Coast and New York City Comic-Con. He doesn't really travel a lot.
See?
He does. You need to follow him on Instagram because he was recently in Texas. He was north of us a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
He was at a comic shop, and I was like, damn. But he don't post it till he gets there. If he had posted if I'm on my way, I'd have been like, let's go, Rachel.
It's for us. That's kind of like I said, out of the box because him, Schwarzenegger, that hardly ever do stuff. You know what I mean? It's rare. That's all I gotta say. It's rare. So
it's a big lineup. It's gonna be a big show. It's gonna be at the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, October 26th through the 28th. We will be there. We will have a sizable booth. We'll have our setup like we always do. And then, of course, as long as you're part of the culture, whether you're following on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, or YouTube, when you come to the booth, you show one of our team that you're following along, and we will enter you in our big giveaway that we are having this year, as we do every year.
Come see Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Fly.
The Fly. There you go.
Fly.
That was my parents' first date. I don't know how the hell my mom went on a second date, but my dad took my mom to see The Fly for their first
Because women like scary
movies. Did they go to the second date to see The Fly too? Years later?
I don't know, but I was like, what?
The Fly.
Yes. So.
Which was not a bad remake for the time, but it was good. It was good. Well, all I'm going to say is, come see everybody that's there, whether famous or not. Come see us. I'll talk to you. Diego will talk to you.
Yeah.
Lewis might brush you off. But
it's so wrong, so wrong.
Rachel will turn away from you, walk away.
You'll find us at our section is H. We'll be at section H. John will have some artwork at his booth 306, if I remember right. Booth 306. It'll be right across.
It's right across. Yeah.
Just look for the statues. We'll be there.
Statues and affordable prints.